Good evening and welcome to the 130th edition of Hub Magazine. It's April 24th. I'm Matt Lane, and Ron Hedeke is off tonight. Joining me on the set is Robert Peppercorn, and you're going to be helping me out tonight.
It's a pleasure to be here, Matt, and I'm looking forward to this tonight.
All right, we've got an interesting show today. Was to say the least, an eventful day in the YubaSutter area.
Unbelievable news today.
There was a lot of things that happened. There was a major accident, which you've probably already heard about. And earlier today, if we look at the state, there was a major earthquake in the San Francisco area. Quite an eventful news day. And we've got a little bit later, we will have a story on electronic banking international style. That ought to be kind of interesting.
And don't forget our dermatology segment.
That's coming up at the end of the show. We're also going to see some scenes from Moscow on the Hudson, a new film featuring Robin Williams. And who are you going to be talking to tonight?
We've got a very interesting discussion on a new Yuba refuge trash collection program to really improve the look and appearance of Yuba and Sutter. I'm looking forward to that.
Good. I was down at the there's a beach on the Yuba City side of the river bottoms today, and was thoroughly disgusted by the amount of trash that I saw down there. And this is after one sunny weekend. It was a mess, and we need to clean up.
I think this will help.
This is going to help. Ivan Lemoyne is the guest.
That's right.
And it ought to be interesting. Bill Monahan is back tonight. We'll talk about that too. Bill will be back with some commentary. Right now, let's get into today's top news story. One man is dead, 7 people injured today as a semi-truck loaded with logs from the Sierras crashed into the Jack in the Box restaurant on East Street in Marysville. During the lunch hour, in fact. Hub Magazine co-host and Marysville Public Information Officer Ron Hedeke explains the story for us.
15, a lumber truck, which you see behind me, was coming down 9th Street, making a left turn onto East Street. The driver apparently had a heart attack, and then lost control of the vehicle. The vehicle then jumped the curb, took a gas pump out at the Chevron station. The pump was not leaking. It immediately shut off on its safety valve. The truck then proceeded to go across the gas station where it ran into 2 vehicles. 2 people in one of the vehicles were injured. The truck then proceeded through the parking lot, hitting another pickup truck and vehicle that were parked in the Jack in the Box parking lot. It also hit a station wagon that was being driven through the parking lot at the time that the truck was coming through. It pinned that station wagon between itself and the brick wall of Jack in the Box. The truck then proceeded to crash through the planter barrier and into the restaurant itself. There were people sitting at the tables in the restaurant. They saw the truck coming, grabbed their kids and ran. They were not injured. Needless to say, though, they are extremely shook up at this point. At the time the accident happened, about 12:15, there were some 40 to 50 people in the restaurant, the heavy lunch crowd. The number of injuries right now stand at 5, and I have no further information on the driver of the truck. We've had no fire at the scene at this point, although the full fire department is standing by and rescue squads. 4 ambulances were used to haul injured people to the hospitals. And at this particular point, the restaurant is severely damaged. It is closed down as of 12:30, 1 o'clock this afternoon. And the gas and electric have been shut off pending the removal of the truck and repairs.
The only thing we heard was we heard a lot of screaming.
I heard get out, and then I opened the side door, and I see people running. Somebody grabbed me and pulled me out the door.
It smells like there was just, like the place was on fire. It smelled like to me.
It smelled like a ton of burned rubber.
How many customers do you think you had in there?
I think the dining was about packed.
About 60.
It was full.
40, probably about 50 we had.
The only thing I can say is a miracle that he didn't hit 1, the gas pumps at the gas station, 2, that little building, that Kodak building, and then 3, that nobody got hurt inside the store. Nobody got hurt.
There are reports from the scene say that the driver of the logging truck was slumped over about halfway through the turn around the corner to head onto East Street from 9970. There were 7 injuries. These are the official statistics as we have them right now. 7 injuries, and of those 7 injuries, 1 was major. The person suffered facial lacerations and some pretty severe back injuries. They're at Rideout. 6 of the injured were treated and released from Rideout Hospital today. The restaurant said it would be open by dinner. We couldn't get a call through to find out if indeed they are, but they said they would be. There were 40 to 50 customers inside the restaurant at the time of this. Apparently, they saw the truck coming, screamed out, and people grabbed their kids and themselves and got out of the way. Apparently, one elderly woman and her grandson crawled under a table that was directly across from the path of the truck and had to be helped out by some people who were on the scene, actually probably at the restaurant, stopped by and offered them a hand. They were a little bit afraid to come out from under there. You can understand that. And it was quite a stir in the city of Marysville today. The driver is dead. His identity has not been released until next of kin are notified. The Marysville Fire Department and Police Department responded a total of 10 men to the scene. They also called in mutual aid from the Linda Fire Department. A truck and 2 men showed up from there. And it was quite a sight to drive by the Jack-in-the-Box today and see this big hole from this truck. It's a miracle, Bob, with all this.
It's amazing how efficient the emergency response team is here in Marysville and Yuba City, and the cooperation of surrounding communities is quite impressive.
If they need help, help is there. It's not hard to find. What I'm amazed by, even now, and just looking back on it, it's lunch hour, and a semi-truck crashes through a restaurant, and only 6 people are injured, and no one who was inside that restaurant was killed. A miracle? Yeah, you might be able to say that.
Do we know if the heart attack killed the driver or if he was killed?
That's not known yet. Again, we have reports from people who saw the truck as it rounded the corner there that indeed the driver was slumped over about halfway through the turn. He seemed to slump over. He plowed across the Chevron station, took out 1 pump. The pumps, of course, have automatic shut-off devices on them. The pump shut off, and there was no gas leakage and no fire, which was a possibility.
It's really a miracle.
He narrowly missed. There's a Kodak photo stand, if you know the Jack-in-the-Box parking lot. He narrowly missed that. Could have taken that out easily. Took out a couple of cars in the parking lot and slammed into, the entrance that faces the Kodak stand. He went in right through the doors. He did go through the doors, and some major damage to the restaurant, but they are going to get right back to it. Again, as we mentioned, 6 of the injuries were treated and released, mostly just scratches from the flying glass, but a lot of shocked and stunned people in the Marysville-Yuba City area. Just sitting, having dinner, having lunch, and suddenly a truck's there.
And then an earthquake in the Bay Area. Just
an earthquake
in the
Bay
Area. News day.
It's been a day. There was also, while we were out covering the story on this tragic accident, there was also a report that the Olympic Hotel was on fire. Well, that got us going. We checked that out, and apparently the Olympic Hotel indeed wasn't on fire today. If you heard that rumor, that wasn't true. It was simply a car that was torched in front of the Olympic Hotel. It was an arson fire, not the hotel itself. A busy news day in the Yuba City area and Marysville area, and some very lucky people tonight who were having lunch at Jack-in-the-Box today. At about 12:15, the truck crashed through.
Well, that's definitely true. Well, we're going to switch now.
Yeah, let's change the subject.
Totally different subject tonight. Do you ever use those electronic banking machines?
Well, as a matter of fact, Bob, I like most Americans nowadays have a card. My bank's going to like this. See this card, folks? This is, and you have your little.
Well, I have to say I use a different bank, man.
Okay, so that's okay.
That's okay. It's really nice to have that efficiency and convenience.
Sometimes too convenient, but you never know. It is nice to have that.
Well, it's nice to know that there's that system all over the world. And banking history was made recently when an automated teller was used in Sydney, Australia, and got cash from a bank in the United States.
Mary Stone, a Washington, D.C. commodities broker, became the first person to use a Visa card to get cash internationally from an automated money machine.
Well, I did a cash transaction in a money machine here, and just used my Visa card and took cash out of my bank in Arkansas.
Werner Thielen, general manager for Visa in Australia, explains the transaction.
Well, she got Australian dollar. Her account is obviously in U.S. dollars.
Right.
And what happens is the transaction, when it's received by her bank, is converted into U.S. dollar. The exchange rate that's used is, in fact, the exchange rate that's used between 2 banks exchanging foreign currency. So she should, in fact, get a much better exchange rate than if she had, as an individual, gone into a bank and obtained some Australian dollars against her U.S. dollars.
For Miss Stone, a colorful way to make international banking history.
Well, the next time I'm in Europe, which who can say when that's going to be, but the next time I'm in Europe, it'll be, or in Australia even, it'll be nice to be able to walk up with my Visa card, stick it in the old slot, and say I'd like, I guess I have dollars in Australia.
The problem is you don't know what you're going to get. You might put the card in there and
True.
get yen when you want, dollars.
Apparently, though, Bob, I think they worked that out by having to disperse the money of the country that you're in.
Okay, that makes more
sense. You can't go
in,
you can't go to Russia and order dollars, and you can't come here and order rubles. It won't work.
Oh.
So
it would be fun. fun, though.
It would be. Well, we wanted to report some sort of news, some sad news for me anyway. I kind of hate to see this happen, but it's probably good for the person it's happening to. Marysville Fire Chief John Buchanan announced that effective June the 1st, he will resign his post as the fire chief in that fair city. John has been the chief there for 3 years and brought a new breed of professionalism to the Marysville Fire Department, I think. Actually practicing the art of fire science, which is something that this city needed and had, and hopefully will be able to find again. John Buchanan has been a guest on Hub Magazine, on other cable Channel 5 programs many times. He's an amiable man, and we're all going to miss him. And we at Channel 5 and NorCal Cablevision wish Fire Chief John Buchanan the best in his new job. He's going to be moving to Woodland. He won't be too far away. Maybe we'll get to see him once in a while. But we certainly wish him the best on his new career, his new job. Same career, new job in the city of Wheatland. Marysville will indeed miss him and his expertise. Here's Bob with the weather.
This year has been ideal allergy weather lately, and hopefully this wind will now clear out some of that pollen. The National Weather Service is calling for sunny skies, and you can look for gusty north winds to settle down just a bit. You wouldn't know that being outside this evening.
Not right now.
Look for a high tomorrow near 80 degrees, tonight's low near 55. Currently at Cable Channel 5, it's 63 degrees Fahrenheit. That converts to 17 degrees Celsius. Barometer shows 30.02 inches of mercury, and humidity is about 6%, pretty low.
Pretty dry.
The winds are gusting to about 30 miles per hour, and you can feel that out there.
And the door rumbles by. We were just looking at a shot. We'll have a contest. We'll start this right now. Okay, if you can identify where myself and cameraman Greg Smith were today, when we took that very picture, we're never going to show it again, just from what you just saw. Just let us know. We'd be interested. No, it was actually down at the river bottoms on the Sutter County side. It was indeed very nice. We are going to break away, I think, right now. We have a couple of important messages, and we're going to be talking about a subject that, if you were at the river bottoms today, you could definitely appreciate, and that's a cleaner YubaSutter, and we'd all like to see that. So stay with us. Bob will be back with the guest right after this.
Wherever, whenever news happens, 24 hours a day, CNN covers the world. CNN is immediate. For major events, CNN goes live to the scene, anytime, anywhere. CNN is complete, the most informative, in-depth coverage of any national news organization. CNN is experience. CNN correspondents are experts at turning complex issues into clear reports. CNN is worldwide. From its bureaus around the globe, CNN delivers the international news that affects all of us. And because CNN is news 24 hours a day, CNN has time to give you the details instead of a quick opinion. CNN, report for report, more news and information than anyone else can offer. 24 hours a day, CNN is the news.
Nobody knows who invented the wheel, but it took place in Asia 10,000 years ago. It took the Egyptians to learn that a wheel can carry more than a camel can. The Greeks and Trojans to realize you could move armies with it. And the Romans to find it an ideal way to get the emperor off their backs. That was the beginning of a mechanized civilization. Yes, the salvation of man's back. But no luck, because meanwhile some genius discovered modern merchandising, which states, buy now and take it with you. Now the human was doomed to pain and discomfort from carrying awkward things in awkward positions. We've come full circle, this carry-all society of ours, to save your back and your health. You are urged to put wheels under that load.
A public service message from the American Chiropractic Association and your family doctor of chiropractic.
Our guest this evening is Mr. Ivan Lemoyne, who has got a very interesting program to tell us about regarding a cleanup of Yuba and Sutter counties. Mr. Lemoyne is with the I Love a Clean YubaSutter. Thanks for being here tonight, sir.
Thank you, Bob.
Tell us a little about what's going on with this campaign.
Well, Bob, this was a campaign that was started off about 6 weeks ago when 4 or 5 of us got together. The mayor of the city of Marysville and a couple of more people. And we were talking about a cleaner YubaSutter. We started off with a cleaner Marysville. And we finally decided that the best way to go would be to go for a cleaner YubaSutter in general. And the Committee of Five is now, at our last meeting yesterday at the Chamber of Commerce, I think there was 26 of us. We're being represented by the YubaSutter Disposal Service, the Kiwanis Clubs of Marysville and Yuba City, the bottling companies, the City of Marysville, the City of Yuba City, the counties of Yuba and Sutters, the 3 radio stations, Live Oak Lines, Northern California Grocers Association, the beer distributors, Raley's, Caltrans, fast food outlets, Peel Democrat.
So quite a large group of people cooperating in this program.
We have, the response has been just overwhelming. It's just, as we build from meeting to meeting, it just seemed like the committee kept getting larger and larger and more people interested in this program.
Now, I understand people have now a new way of getting trash collected for this program from their homes. What's going on with that?
Yes, well, during this whole week is that anyone who has any trash of any kind whatsoever may set it aside right by their regular garbage can or their regular toter.
So things that are bigger than their usual.
Right. Old mattresses, old chairs. I was driving down Main Street this morning. Evidently, they were picking up the trash on Main Street this morning.
So there will not be additional fees for them to collect this?
That's right. At no additional cost whatsoever. Clean out the garage, clean out the backyard, clean out anything that you may have, stack it right next to your garbage collection can, and they will pick it up free of charge.
And what about recyclable things? What's happening there?
The recyclable things there, of course, as you know, the YubaSutter disposal, you can set any recyclable material right next to your garbage can at any time, and they'll pick those up and bring them back. But for the recycling day was going to be this coming Saturday. This Saturday, we're asking anybody who has anything that's recyclable, whether it be cans, bottles, jars, wine bottles, and anything, any kind of glass, any kind of aluminum cans, to bring them into a number of locations we've set aside around the YubaSutter area, and they will be picked up by and put into bins.
Why don't you tell us a couple of those locations before we run short?
Okay. The locations that we have appeared in the several ads we've had in the Peel Democrat in this last week there. And we have the Sears parking lot, Hillcrest Shopping Center, Montgomery Ward's parking lot, Peachtree Mall, King's West Side Market in Live Oak, and the Holiday Market in Olivehurst.
And I understand a lot of the private clubs, the men's clubs, the service clubs, Kiwanis Lions, etc., are going to be getting out and helping collect trash and really to help beautify our local area.
Yes, the Kiwanis clubs of Marysville and Yuba City and the Lions Club of Live Oak are going to man these locations here on Saturdays. And then the local bottling companies and beer companies are going to be providing trucks just in case someone should not be able to bring this material over. They'll just call a special number over there, YubaSutter Disposal, and they will assign a truck to go out and pick up the stuff and get rid of it. And
so if people do need more information, they could call up YubaSutter Disposal, and
that is correct.
I know that number is in the phone book because I've called them many times for
yes,
other
it
things
is.
as well.
And it even appears in the ads.
Great. Thank you very much for being with us tonight on Hub Magazine. We really appreciate this.
Thank you very much.
We're looking forward to a cleaner YubaSutter.
Well, I hope we do have a cleaner YubaSutter, and everybody should have a bumper sticker that says, "I love a clean YubaSutter."
Well, let's switch now to tonight's commentary from Bill Monahan.
The gross income of the farming economy in Yuba Sutter will show a strong recovery this year, which will mean more to the suppliers, workers, and general community among those who will be benefited by this increase in farm economy. The strong probability is the gross returns this year will run to $400 million, after two of the worst years that local farmers have endured since Depression days in the 1930s. The demand for food and fiber, plus excellent cultivation weather, are highly favorable conditions for Yuba Sutter, where agriculture is still the basic wealth-producing factor in the region. And this is a sharp reverse from the farm economic trends of the past 2 years, when growers suffered what may have been the first real depression since the 1930s. Last year, area growers received the lowest cash return since 1979. The 1983 gross revenues in Sutter County were down to $205 million, and in Yuba County they were down to $57 million. compared to, for example, $316 million in Sutter County in 1981 and $96 million in Yuba County in the same year. The 1983 farm scene was disastrous, not only for the growers, but for the industry's suppliers, since not only was the income down in almost all harvests, but almost half of the field crop acreage was not planted at all, as farmers took advantage of the special federal subsidy for payment in kind. Frankly, the only growers who showed any net returns were probably in tomatoes, prunes, and kiwi fruit. Frankly, the only growers who showed any net returns were producers of tomatoes, prunes, and kiwi fruit, still a small, though growing commodity in Yuba Sutter. But the slow rebound is visible in the farming industry locally, statewide, and nationally. Whether it will develop into a solidly profitable condition for all farmers may depend on farmer attitudes toward production. There are strong indications that production controls are vital to the creation of profit in the industry, since competition for foreign and even domestic markets is growing stiffer and the requirement for supplies is growing smaller. American growers who once dominated the market for peaches and almonds in Europe are now running into stiff competition from South Africa, New Zealand, Spain, and Australia. And in the third-ranked nation, there is strong emphasis with strong governmental support for the agricultural industries of their particular country. However, changes in cultivation and marketing are becoming visible in the American farm industry. One of the local changes that is significant is the decline in interest in clingstone peaches, for the center of the industry has moved to Modesto, and last year there was only income of $18 million compared to $20 million in almonds and walnuts and almost $35 million in prune. The rebound in agricultural commodities in Yuba Sutter is vital to the local community, not only in the new wealth the industry creates, but for the full-time and part-time job it provides, and the indirect cash flow through the area trading zone. This is Bill Monahan for Hub Magazine.
The camera's on you. I don't think there's anyone better in our community to comment about political events than Bill Monahan. Don't you agree?
Yeah, and it's so good to have Bill back with us. He's going to be back with us on a regular basis now, and you're right. He has more experience than anyone else I know in this area, and more wisdom about how politics in this area works than anyone I've ever heard. Bill's been around for years writing for newspapers.
He's a lot of experience and exposure with everything. I'm interested in seeing a movie coming up starring Robin Williams called Moscow on the Hudson. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm looking forward to it. Have you seen it?
Well, as a matter of fact, I have. No, yeah, I haven't got to see it yet. I'm looking forward to it, but I have got to preview the clips that we have, and they're genuinely funny stuff.
Let's take a look at these clips from Moscow on the Hudson with Robin Williams.